How you doing, guys? Welcome to ZukaTube, and in today's episode we're going to review the movie The Tomorrow War. Just came out on Amazon Prime, released on July 2nd, right? When you look it up, for some reason it says on the 21st it comes out in Indonesia, so that's real informative. And apparently my VPN's not on, so that's kind of weird that happened. I'm going to play this trailer, right? This is a big Chris Pratt movie that just came out and got ported right to streaming rather than to theaters. Apparently it was originally going to go to theaters, but it didn't for some reason. But I'm going to play this trailer. We're going to go into a little bit of a summary, pros and cons, stuff like that. I'll give you my review. We'll play a few clips, and then I'm going to go into spoilers at the end with a couple little bits as well. So let's get right into this trailer here. Dun, dun, dun. These are pretty vicious aliens, too. Chris Pratt's character, Dan Forrester. That's his dad, J.K. Simmons, a.k.a. Buff Santa.
Dad, I need your help.
I'll get my coat.
30 years in the future. We are fighting a war. Our enemy is not human.
Yeah, they come from the future, like in the middle of a World Cup game.
We need you to fight.
To recruit people.
I love you, Chickpea.
A lot of father-daughter, you know, type of stuff. You know, it's all about
You'll be fighting for the world.
like parents, their children, family, the common man fighting.
I mean, when I'm nervous, I talk. I'm like a 97 on the nervous scale.
Now, pink shirt and camo right there, those two guys,
That should be fun.
Charlie and Dorian, great characters throughout the movie. They're like on his team throughout a lot of parts, so
Welcome to the
they're pretty
future.
nicely fleshed
You
out.
and your unit are now in 2051.
They're everywhere.
We are food, and
The
they are
woman in a lot
hungry.
of these scenes is basically the future version of
Our
his
enemy
daughter.
is smarter, faster, and stronger than you can possibly imagine.
Dun, 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 dun.
Do you want to see something really dangerous?
I feel like literally that's all I've been doing since I got here, but okay.
There's a decent amount of like fun banter as well. Look at the action stuff with these monsters. Dang, it's crazy.
Within the next
They're
few
vicious.
weeks,
Oh, there's Santa
the human
again.
species will disappear from the face of the earth.
Nothing we do here matters.
Very like World War Z when all the
That's
aliens
where
are
you're
crawling up stuff like
I believe
that.
that one bit.
Crazy.
Together, we
Then
can
they got
stop
like
this
wings
war
and shit. They glide a little bit.
from ever happening.
This is my opportunity to give this world a second chance.
See, look at that. It's ridiculous.
Second chances are really hard to come by.
Yeah, look at them all. Damn. Apparently they swim real good too. This guy Charlie, he's got a lot of like witty
It's not
banter.
even loaded.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not loaded. It's a pressurized cabin. Why would I load it in the cabin? The bullet goes in thing and everybody sucked.
Yeah, so pretty good trailer, I think, right? I'm into the whole alien war movies, end of the world. That's up my alley, especially after the damn review I gave for Unthinkable of the falsely advertised movie that makes you think they're about to fight aliens or monsters or something bigger than apparently the damn rain. I don't know. I was very upset about that movie. You could definitely go and look back and watch my review on that one. But I wouldn't go back and watch that movie, though. That's for sure, right? So here, let me give you the summary. So that time travelers arrive from 2051 to deliver an urgent message. 30 years in the future, mankind is losing a war against a deadly alien species. The only hope for survival is for soldiers and civilians to be transported to the future to join the fight. Determined to save the world, for his daughter, Dan Forrester, which is Chris Pratt's character, teams up with a brilliant scientist and his estranged father to rewrite the planet's fate. Okay, so this starts out in 2022, right? He did 2 combat tours in the military. He spent a lot of time in the lab. You know, he becomes a science teacher when he gets out. And basically, they're having a little party at his house with his kid and his wife and a bunch of the neighbors to watch like a World Cup game, right? And that's when you see the time travelers come in. Everybody's watching it happen, you know. And they tell them of a war where everyone's almost been eradicated. They find out that they're these enemy called the White Spikes. And they're these aliens, right? They were brought in like on a cargo ship like these eggs basically that like hatched like alien movie type deal, you know, and they were basically frozen in Russia and then eventually like started destroying everything. Obviously, they don't tell everything like that to the civilians in this, but you know, they give them an idea that they're at war with this enemy from another planet, right? They also show the common working men and women who volunteer to be in the military to save humanity, the PTSD, the fallout from that. Dan Forrester's wife, basically, who is Chris Pratt's character, his wife basically gives like some therapy stuff to a lot of people in this movie, like, and then you see that there's like a less than 20% survival rate during this whole war, right, with people coming back. So it's pretty serious. They're recruiting people mostly over 40 who are already dead in the future and are being trained by people who aren't born yet in the past. And that's specifically to avoid like time paradoxes, although they don't go deep into the time stuff, but they do kind of comb over that right away to alleviate you just constantly being like, well, how does this happen? Does this affect this or does this affect that? They clear that up right away, right? So basically, Dan gets drafted, and apparently he's going to die in like 7 years, he finds out, and he wants to know what happens, and he's a little upset about it. His family wants him to flee the draft because obviously he's already fought in war, 2 tours in war, and this is something that is way in the future, and people are dying, and there's a chance that he's most likely not coming back. And she's like, I know you don't talk to your father. He abandoned you as a child, but you got to buck up. You got to go talk to him. Because this dude's like, Buff Santa. He's a like ex-military dude who's like living off grid, working on airplanes and doing like illegal work, you know, on the side for people. So he goes to talk to his dad to like help him get this like implant thing they put on his arm, right, off. They have a little bit of an argument. He calls him a coward. He doesn't want to abandon his family, and he wants to be able to change the future for his kid. You know what I mean? So like he decides to go fight in the war, and they get teleported on a miscalculated kind of situation and end up falling from like the sky, and a lot of them start dying right away, which is pretty gnarly. And I'm gonna play this clip real quick because it's pretty sick. This is him like teleporting, dropping out of the sky. You're only supposed to drop like 5-10 feet, they say, but apparently not this time. Miscalculation, right? So some serious fallout there. A lot of people are just like hitting the sides. People are falling down to the street level, you know, everything like that. Yeah, look, there's a lot of people like severely injured, plenty of people dead, the whole deal. But they're on a mission to find some scientists and stuff like that and do a little extraction thing. And then they're going to nuke the city, basically. And they get their first glimpse face to face with these aliens, right? And let me show you how awesome they look. Because these are badass looking. They're way better than other alien movies, especially like I hate it when they don't show the alien or it's very dark or whatever. They do a lot of good shots of these. They spent some serious money on this. And they're called the white spikes because that thing that they see that little point in that crazy tentacle that shoots some spike. Boom. Crazy, man. Look at these things. They're so vicious. They're very intimidating. You know what I mean? They take a hell of a lot to take down. Obviously, once people find out their weak points, they get a little better at taking them down. But, you know, when you're recruited right into it and they throw you in with no education on it, it's really hard for them to get a good grip on how to handle a situation, even when it's only maybe one of them. So that adds a good kind of tension to the story, right? Now, when he time travels, he comes to face with his own daughter, you know, just that's older, working in the war. And that's the girl they show in the whole trailer the whole time, you know, the whole deal, right? So that makes him even more like, oh, man, we gotta do something. This is crazy, you know? And basically the white spikes are like vicious, super-powered alien creatures, you know? So, like, they're really having a hard time figuring out a way to eradicate the species, right? And you got the 2 side characters that are also on the team, among other people too. But the 2 guys, Charlie and Dorian, they offer a lot of good dialogue. even good character development for them. They show a lot of progression for them in their own kind of way of getting over certain obstacles, and there's a lot of satisfaction for quite a few characters in this movie by the end on how things turn out for them. So that's pretty cool. The movie is very much centered around the relationship of fathers and their children, and that even if they aren't there for them through a lot of parts of their lives, when a situation becomes life or death and everything like that, at the end of the day, they would do anything for them kind of deal. And also just family, just doing things in general for your family and coming together and as a team as well to overcome obstacles with your family. And then obviously they go into, the military stuff and the kind of every man and woman out there, doing what they can to fight to change, the course of humanity as we know it kind of deal. So that's really cool. Very wholesome. I think it's a really good sci-fi action movie overall. Obviously, there's a couple things that I would say are some cons, like the maybe third part, like the last part of the movie, a little bit slow. Not the very last part, but like I would say like third act kind of deal, a little bit slow. And but overall, like movie's very fun, very enjoyable, lots of good banter, a lot of good back and forth stuff and everything. And overall, I really enjoyed it. I would give this a solid 8 out of 10. I would say definitely check it out, especially if you like wholesome movies that like aren't going into like a lot of big like modern day social topics. They're not worrying about any present day stuff. You're not fighting wars against other humans. I mean, this is cool. It's the sci-fi thing. You're fighting these alien monsters that are killing everybody. Everybody's got to join in to try to handle this situation. And it's a good breath of fresh air, and it's just fun to watch for sure. So 8 out of 10 on this one. Now let's get into a little bit of spoilers here. Spoilers. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so, right now, they make a toxin, basically, to take down the aliens, and they want Dan to take it to the past to stop the war before it starts. And the White Spikes basically take the base, and Dan's daughter dies right in front of him. So Dan gets pulled back to the past, and him and his wife figure out that the White Spikes have been there dormant for a while. They must have been. They don't show any coverage, and they never told them anything about them arriving. There was no arrival, any mention of that kind of thing, right? So one of Dan's students that they show in a couple scenes of him being a teacher, right? The dude's obsessed with volcanoes and stuff. So they use him to potentially figure out a location, right? And they're like, what are some giant dormant volcanoes or this and that in Russia, blah, 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 at this time. So he's like, he tries to warn the government, Dan, right? And they won't help. So, of course, he's going to just go rogue. And he develops a team, and he brings back, like, Charlie and Dorian and the leader of the group from the future and a few other people and his dad, right? And his dad is like gonna get his second chance, with his son to fight. So of course he's up, ready, he's ready to strap boots for this, right? So they find this ship beneath the ice and they try to administer the toxin, but like some of these dudes start waking up, including the queen, and shit goes down, right? And this is where like the last part of the movie where it gets really, really it picks back up again, you know what I mean? And like they have to blow the ship up and everything like that and take the mother down, you know what I mean? Take this mother down. But like the actual alien mother too, kind of deal, right? So like Buff Santa, he's down. They got all the tools, man. They brought all the toxin, the future people helped them, like everything, right? And Dorian, he's like the hard ass dude. He had been through like kind of a few tours by the time they meet him. So he's like kind of really shot out and he's had it. But at the same time, like he wants to go out how he wants to go out, and like seeing him kind of die in a blaze of glory like he wanted is pretty epic. And then like at the same time, like the character Charlie, like overcoming his fears and becoming, this hero and like kicking ass and doing and like using the saw and like cutting up that damn alien at the one point was pretty badass and all that. And they get in this big fight after they blow the ship, right? Because the mother gets out, and the son and the father, so Dan and his dad, basically, they have to go and take this monster down. And the dad like creates some diversions. They go back and forth fighting this thing, and they kick the shit out of it. And the thing kicks the hell out of them, knocks them around a bit. You know what I mean? Pretty badass little action scene. It gets a little over the top at some points because they like old man gets flung around a bit, you know, and like at that point you would think he'd be down for the count, like his ribs will be broken or his legs or something, and he's too old, right? But again, this is Buff Santa we're talking about here, and J.K. Simmons is clearly the most intimidating dude in this movie, right? So basically they defeat the alien and all that, and him and Charlie and his dad basically are like the last survivors of the mission there. And you see them kind of lay out and chill for a second. And like at first when you see the Dan and his father lay out, it's pretty funny because like they even joke about it, because at one point when they're going to kill the alien, Chris Pratt's character is just like, die, you know, and it's like that's all he says. I'm like, really? That's like a corny line. And like his dad makes sure to like kind of bust his balls about it, which is funny. So check this out.
Did you tell it to die?
Yeah.
That worked. Why didn't you tell it sooner?
Why didn't you tell him sooner? Like, that's pretty funny, right? Because he's like, you just told it to die. Oh, well, I guess it's dead, right? Like, that's pretty funny, the sarcasm and stuff. They do a lot of that in the movie, which is really enjoyable, too, as well. So I definitely got to say that's fun. And you see, like, the government just taking credit for everything, although they obviously did it against, you know, well, without the assistance of the government, basically, right? And you see, like, Dan makes amends with his father and dedicates himself to his family, and they have this, like, kind of kind-hearted, like, thing where they all meet again, and they introduce the grandfather to the granddaughter, and it's, like, it's very, like, wholesome, right? Very enjoyable movie, and, yeah, so I would, like I said, give this, like, a solid 8 out of 10. This is overall just a really enjoyable, fun movie to watch with people, and it's not like overly like on the horror aspect. It's not super gory. I mean, obviously the aliens, it's gory for them, they get messed up pretty good, but they really focus on the humans in a more emotional aspect rather than having to see them get mutilated type of deal. But yeah, again, 8 out of 10. Definitely check this out. The Tomorrow War. ZukaTube out.
Dropping lines like an assembly. I'm staying on point, it's my strategy. Feel like they tracking me. Yo, let me get on one. Nah, go get your tracks up. Homie, can I steal some? Homie, you can't stack up. My brother, can you shout me? You're barking up the wrong tree. My dog, why do you doubt me? Cause you can't do shit without me.
Real like the radio and never play it, but that's cool. The enemy's supposed to hate it.